This is a $1 billion video game. It has a map thousands of times larger than GTA 5, NPCs who are conscious, and is the closest thing to full dive virtual reality. Now, I'll be showing you the difference between this $1 billion game, this $500 million game, and everything in between, starting with this $1 video game. Escapist, a 2D game that looks like it was made in Microsoft Paint. In Escapist, you must avoid these red lasers at all costs, or it's over. There are a total of 9 levels, and to beat the game, you have to reach the yellow areas on the opposite side of the map. Now, you're probably thinking, never heard of this. That's because I made this game when I was 9 on Scratch. These games make millions of dollars a year, and users manage to recreate them for completely free on a platform designed for 9-year-olds, all with the exact same levels and even graphics, using only these puzzle-like command blocks. And the most insane thing is that this $1 game is actually better than one of the most expensive games in this video, because this game, made with millions of dollars and a team of over 800 people, broke thousands of consoles. However, as you get older, Scratch games aren't enough to satisfy you anymore. This is where the $10,000 game comes in. This game has no story, no quest, and no purpose. It's a completely useless game. Goat Simulator is a game where you literally play as a goat, and your only job is to cause as much chaos as possible. But this useless game still sold over 10 million copies, and the secret to its massive success is this. The studio behind the game, Coffee Stain Studios, knew that there were too many bugs during development, so they decided to just not fix them. Flying with your tongue, this stick-bug looking goat, and even being flinged outside the map. Since there was no way back, the studio just went all in on the glitches. They decided to make it the selling point of their game. It was a complete gamble, one that could bankrupt the studio. It was launch day, and large YouTubers immediately knew that this game was a content goldmine, so they made videos on it, and the game received hundreds of millions of views, and with that, millions of fans. One of the glitchiest games in existence became one of the most beloved. But later in this video, we'll see a much more expensive game where the glitches are even worse. So bad that hundreds of people lost their jobs. Now, even though Goat Simulator is super fun and hilarious, you eventually get bored of these troll games. So, you want a world you can really lose yourself in. And that's where the $10 million game comes in. A city that knows it's already dead. A graveyard of the gods. A paradise with no way out. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 managed to win Game of the Year with a 10 times smaller budget than its predecessors such as Elden Ring and The Witcher 3. It's the year 2020, COVID hits and countless lose their jobs. But this young man didn't lose his job, he willingly chose to leave. He left Ubisoft and founded his own game studio, Sandfall Interactive. He wanted the creative freedom to forge the best video game in existence. A group of 30 people. They put their blood, sweat, and tears into this project. They were passionate about creating something so artistic, so emotional, it would be unprecedented. But then they were exposed. They lied about something, and they were stripped of their awards. Turns out, they used generative AI without disclosing it. In order to speed up the development of the game, they used AI to generate posters, and the internet immediately exploded with controversy. The community was divided into two, people who still supported the game, and people who absolutely hated it. But regardless of the controversy, one thing is hard to deny. Its unique turn-based combat system, art direction, and music design are top tier. With just a $10 million budget, they've managed to destroy games with a similar budget. I mean, just look at this. At this point, you've already seen the best video games have to offer, but if a $10 million game is already this good, imagine what a team of 800 and $100 million could do. 800 developers, $100 million, and one of the most anticipated games in history. The trailers looked insane, and everyone called it the future of shooter games. It was going to have a dynamic world, meaning the weather would reshape the map permanently. It was going to be the first multiplayer shooter with RPG-like storytelling. It was going to fulfill our childhood dreams of flying in an Iron Man suit. The game launched, and it couldn't even load properly. Players were getting stuck in walls, falling through the map, and crashing back to the main menu mid-mission. But it gets worse. The game was literally killing consoles. Hundreds of players reported their PS4s permanently shutting down after loading into the game. It was a complete disaster. And all of this trouble began with one person. Casey Hudson, director of BioWare and the Mass Effect trilogy, pitched an idea. He wanted to combine BioWare's deep storytelling with multiplayer games like FIFA. This got the studio and its executives excited about the huge profits. And the idea really wasn't bad at all. It had potential. However, the studio collapsed from the inside. Casey Hudson, the one who originally pitched the idea, left BioWare. With no clear vision, constant restarts, and the studio too scared to make decisions, 800 people were all moving in different directions, and they all lost their jobs. Anthem failed to live up to its expectations, and the game has already been shut down forever. But what if they had never failed? What if they managed to turn everything around? Well, a studio really managed to do the impossible and revive a dead game. It's the year 2012. CD Projekt Red drops a teaser trailer for a new game. No gameplay, no release date, just a glimpse of a city filled with neon lights. It was something no one had seen before, and the internet lost its mind. 8 years of trailers, leaks, and promises later, it's E3 2019. Keanu Reeves walks on stage.
The feeling of being there, of walking the streets of the future, is really going to be breathtaking. You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
The game launched, and it was so bad it made Anthem look playable. NPCs teleporting, cars flying, and quests breaking permanently. On last-gen consoles, it was basically unplayable, and Sony even had to remove it from the PlayStation Store entirely. CD Projekt Red's stock collapsed overnight. And this was a disaster no one had expected, since they were a highly praised game studio who had proven themselves with the Witcher series. But unlike BioWare, they didn't walk away. CD Projekt Red issued a public apology, offered full refunds, and decided to make up for everything. Patch after patch, update after update. For 2 years straight, they rebuilt the game from the ground up. And Night City rose from the ashes. A city so dense and realistic, it feels like it's alive. And a story so deep, your choices genuinely change who you become. The Phantom Liberty DLC alone won more awards than most AAA games will ever see. Cyberpunk 2077 went from being one of the most disappointing releases to one of the most loved games in video game history. However, after finishing Cyberpunk 2077, you realize that all current games, no matter how good they are, lack something. And only the $1 billion game could achieve it. But before I reveal what the game is, it may be the closest thing we have to full-dive virtual reality, a VR technology that connects directly to our brain to create a simulated world indistinguishable from reality. I wonder what it's like to explore the universe. Whoa, is that a spaceship? Star Citizen is a game which allows you to explore the boundless universe. You can be a bounty hunter, a scientist, or even a pirate raiding ships in space. You can buy and ride your own custom spaceship to explore the map so big it makes GTA 5 look like a parking lot. And you might think that a bigger map means less detail, but it's the complete opposite. The world evolves without you. Wars break out while you sleep. Economies shift overnight. The world doesn't wait for you. Personally, I think the NPCs in regular games are super boring. All they do is repeat the same 3 to 4 voice lines, and it feels so fake. But Star Citizen is different. NPCs don't just follow scripts, they have their own schedules, memories, and lives. This is because the game uses a special AI system called subsumption, which allows NPCs to have routines for hygiene, eating, and working. All of the NPCs collectively contribute to the evolution of the world. But all of this is exactly why Star Citizen was called a fraud, a scam. 14 years of development, 1,000 developers, $1 billion. But the game hasn't been released yet. Chris Roberts, its creator, has been building it since 2012, but refuses to release it until it's perfect. The budget of this game swelled from just $2 million in 2012 to over $1 billion today, and it still has more bugs than a $1 indie game. Some critics argue that Cloud Imperium Games, the studio behind Star Citizen, suffers from feature creep, where they add new features constantly, delaying the game indefinitely. And this led to several accusations on the studio, saying they were using the money for extravagant holidays. However, regardless of the controversy, it's clear that Cloud Imperium Games is taking the first step towards the future, where virtual worlds are indistinguishable from reality. We will be able to live our dream lives, to be an emperor, to be the main protagonist of a story, to interact with lost ones. From a $1 indie game to a billion-dollar universe trying to replace reality, that's the power of video games.